Here you can see the original grandfather clock. You can see how the cove moldings we did last time work together, and as we go up into the hood, we've got the bead molding, a small cove, the dental, and the crown. And we're going to focus up on the hood today. I went ahead and already cut and installed bead molding, so now we can start on the small cove, and then dental molding will be up first. Here's stack for our setup. In this case, it's 5/16 of an inch thick, and it's ripped to the exact width plus one saw blade curve, and you'll see what that's for a little later on. So first thing up is to make the small cove molding. The small cove is nothing more than a 3/16 cove bed installed in the router table. As you can see, this is what we end up with. I'm just running a piece of scrap through so I can look at the profile. Now on the real pieces, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do my finished surface prep on them before I run this cove. But once we run the cove, we can rip it free at the table saw. Next up is to rip the small cove molding off here at the table saw. So we've got it set up ready to do that. One other thing I want to talk about before we rip the molding. I went ahead and pre-cut my pieces to their final size, got the miters done, and we're ready to rip our moldings free. As you notice, I have no choice but to run it with the thin molding profile against the fence for consistency, but I'm also right now marking the cabinet maker's triangle on my piece, and I'm numbering each cove piece as they come off so I can keep the color and the green pattern consistent. So after we ripped the pieces free at the table saw and we put the pieces back together, we have the exact width. That's why when I went to initially mill my pieces, I had to account for the blade curve. I've now got the table saw set up with a stacked dado head cutter, a little bit wider than 5/16 of an inch, and my finished depth of cut's a little less than 5/8. The way this works is that I've got a box joint jig set up at the saw, and it works like this. Make a cut, put it on the pin, make another cut, put it on the pin, and so on, all the way down the line. Now because this is dental molding and I'm working with finished materials at their final lengths, I have to start with two of the pieces with the miter, and I'm coming from the inside out. The last piece I have to start with the miter with the long point being towards you, cutting from the outside in. So you get the idea. You may also notice that I have a backer board just to keep blowout from happening, because we are working with finished materials. So on the one that I had to cut from the outside in, what we did was I carefully transferred the back point of the miter to the front, made the first cut, and then just indexed off the pin and kept going all the way down the line. All dado headsets leave just will either overcut the corners or you'll have a little arc. So what I'm going to do, and what I did, is I clamped the straight edge at the desired distance I want, right at 5/8, and I'm just going to come in with a chisel and just clean all these up by hand. And once that's done, we talk about the next part of the molding. The last step in the denim molding is the one running an 1/8" screw for glue. So we got the table saw set up to do that. One thing to know is that you have to have the dental pins away from the fence. So we've got the pieces cut, attached, and glued on. What I did was I scribed a line to show me where the crown molding is going to terminate all the way around. And I micro pinned the dental molding on and just glued our cove molding on. Now as you can see, I'm going to have to go back and clean this up, because the dental molding board has sprung out. But once we do that, we can get started on the crown molding. Wait until you see the piece. This piece of 12" by 6 will become our crown molding. I'm trying to get this video shoot done because the Indians are on top of the Tampa Bay Rays 11-0 in a shutout. But the one thing I wanted to show you, I'll take my square, I'll put it on the edge, not even close to square. So we're going to have some special milling to do, and all that starts right now.